about teaching like a pirate.
Arg.
Arr, matey. Our curriculum group has been reading the book. We decided that we would have a book club, kind of like what the schools do. Since we're in our own little PLC, we've got all the curriculum coaches.
And the book is called Teach Like a Pirate by Dave Burgess.
Yes. No, Teach Like a Pirate.
Teach Like a Pirate.
Yeah. And so what he does, he talks about his experiences as a teacher, but he has like a formula of a way to rethink about the way that we teach. So we're going to kind of break the show down into some of the pirate talk that he introduces in the beginning part of the book. So if you're interested in reading it, here it is.
No, it's really talking about engaging students and how you find that passion to motivate and engage your students by what you love to do. So it's been kind of a fun read.
Yes, I love it. And I like that when you get, we were talking with Spencer earlier about, you can see him in his teaching, and you can tell that the relationships that he's building with his kids are why he's so effective with them. So we're going to kind of go through the pirate talk letter by letter, the first P being passion. You notice that there's a big hole in the middle of us. Our Shelly is gone.
She's gone.
I know. And Shelly is probably one of the most passionate people that I have ever met.
Agreed.
And because of that, she is actually in Orlando, Florida right now.
Absolutely. So Shelly isn't here right now because she's learning and sharing down in Florida with other state teacher of the year. So that's really exciting. We're really looking forward to what she'll come back and share with all of us.
Yeah.
It should be awesome.
So, speaking of sharing,
Yes.
MEA!
MEA!
Did you love it?
I did love it. It was the first time I'd ever presented at MEA.
Really?
Yeah, and I presented with my friend Sally Bishop. She's a kindergarten teacher over at Broadwater. So we just shared out about our experiences using iPads in primary classrooms, and it was awesome.
And I bet your sessions were packed.
They were really packed. It's fun to see all of the teachers, especially primary teachers, who are looking for these resources and who are really excited to use technology in their classrooms. To connect with other educators, teachers, kind of outside of our little world.
Exactly.
And just learn some new things and be motivated. So it was great.
Because of the social nature of our world, and with Twitter, as we'll talk about in a little bit, there were a lot of people who I've met digitally before, but actually got to see and talk to in person for the first time.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I loved that. So I think that building that passion and sharing, instead of being a consumer all the time, consider maybe next year presenting at MEA, because as we said, you know more than you think you do, and people would love to be able to know what you know and try what you've tried, and even if it didn't work, So the second letter for pirate is obviously I, which in the Dave Burgess book stands for
immersion.
So immersion was in that section of the book was talking about really actually getting engaged with your class. Instead of teaching from the front, I was telling some sixth graders at Eagle Cliffs yesterday that where the teacher's desk is, my desk would have been the one touching the teacher's desk. Because back in my day, the teachers taught from their desks, and only the naughty or really chatty kids.
Yep, that's why I was there.
Yeah!
I was sort of chatty.
So we were fully immersed, and hence we became educators ourselves. But talking about not doing that anymore so much, and especially in the age of technology, it's really tempting to get your students started on a task on the iPads or on the Chromebooks and just go sit at your desk and check your email. The opposite, the immersion, is you're walking around and you're asking questions of your students. What are you working on? What are you learning? How did you make that? And being fully engaged in what they're doing. One of the things I love about our job is that we get to go into classrooms and see what kindergarten through 8th grade are doing. And I think a lot of what we see is so amazing, and I wish that people could come in and see that for themselves. But we have an advantage where we get to travel around and do that. And a lot of the people who invite us into their classrooms are people who are either already engaging with their kids to that immersion level, or they want to, but they're just not sure how. And so that's our job, is we will come in and we'll support you, whether it's modeling a lesson for you or helping out. Sometimes it's just nice to have an extra body while you're trying something new, and then to be there to just wander around and ask the kids, because for a lot of us this is another way of teaching. And so another one of the people that is able to do that in the literacy strand is Payton.
Patty Payton, and I'm a literacy coach for the district here at Billings Public School. I was formerly in the classroom. I had been there for 20 years, and then I decided to take a new adventure. I get to go in and work with teachers in the classroom and work with children. So before I was just working with children all the time, and so now I'm able to do both and go in and work with them on reading and all type of literacy activities and centers in the classroom, bring them goodies and fun things like that. I have always loved reading. I love to see the kiddos when they come in and they don't barely know their letters, and then they leave and they are just reading maniacs. I love to watch them get so excited about actually being able to pick up a book and read it independently. So I wanted to be able to share my love with other children across the district and teachers. First of all, Teaching Like a Pirate. I love the book because he really explains to you how to take your passion and move it into the classroom. And my passion is truly reading in children. And so I would be involved with them, whether it was dressing up in characters or whatever it took for us to get totally involved and enthralled in a book. I would share different authors with my kiddos. We would do author studies within even a K-1, and they would know when they would go and find an author that I enjoyed and we had talked about in the classroom. They were so excited to understand what the author was doing and their background and those type of things. So totally being involved, being right there involved with the kids each and every day. Well, recently I've been doing interactive writing in the classrooms, and I know a lot of times teachers are like, I don't really want to do it. It's painful because we have to, we're sharing the marker and we're working with the kids. But I have seen teachers just go crazy with it, and I'm getting emails back with their wonderful interactive writing. They're using their Mimeo boards. I think that's been the most exciting because I've seen teachers actually have this piece of technology in their room, and now they know what to do with it. And it's really applicable to what they are doing in the classroom. The kids love it because it's something new, a new tool that they can use, and it's doing the same skills but in a new and exciting way. So I think that has been the most fun. And watching kindergartners create these wonderful writings, and then we put them in a book form, and they are just so excited and so proud. I have been amazed. I had a follow-up just yesterday, and I was able to sit down and talk with new teachers to our district. Some have, they're veteran teachers, but they're just new to Billings Public School. And just to see them totally immersing their children into literacy activities in the classroom. And they're not scared to take risks as a brand new teacher in the district, and that is wonderful. They're wanting to learn. They are thriving to learn new literacy practices and making the practices they use such great strategies for their kids and modeling that behavior. So I just see them having such a heart for learning and expressing that with their children, and then their children are flourishing because of it. And yesterday I was like, contractually we're done, and they were like, but we want to keep talking. We are loving what we're doing, and and they're all over the city. It's not just in one school, and they all have struggles in their classrooms, but they love what they're doing, and they are so passionate. And it goes back to the book, bring your passions into the classroom, and it's so evident in everything you do.
The next letter in Pirate is R, for rapport, and building rapport with your students, but also we're trying in our jobs to build rapport with teachers in the district. So one of the things that Anne and Shelley had brainstormed last year was Geek in the House, where we're able to go out to schools and just kind of plant ourselves there for the day and get to know the teachers and help them with tech integration. And it's been super fun.
Yeah,
I've really loved it. And I think when people know we're there all day, they're much more willing, because they know that we're just there, so they'll just stop by and ask us a quick question or have us pop into their classroom. So that's been super great. And Anne and I were at Boulder yesterday.
Where Patty Payton also happened to be, of all
Yeah, everybody, our worlds were colliding yesterday at Boulder. And we were invited into Kerra Olson's first grade classroom to help her use iMovie for the first time with her students. So that was really fun.
It was really awesome, and that was really dear to my heart, because when I taught 4th and 5th grade, that vocabulary was my big thing. And I had written a grant through, it was the First Interstate Q2 One Class at a Time grant to get a couple of flip cameras, if you remember those. And I would send one home every week with 2 kids. I sent one with each kid and gave them a word. And I said, we had a little form and they had to research the word. And then with their families, they had to come up with a way to demonstrate what that word meant by video. And so when we walked into Kerra's room yesterday and she had this vocabulary that they've been learning from their
text talk. They were using their text talk vocabulary.
And then she wanted them to make a video. And I was like, I can do this! Yeah! But what I noticed as being really cool for that project was it helped me when I was doing that with my families to really build rapport with them, because I would get to sit and work with the kids after school while they put their videos together. And a lot of times the parents would come because it was a family project, you know?
Right, yes.
And so with Kerra's class yesterday, we were saying, here's iMovie, try this out. And giving them a tool that they hadn't experienced before. Also giving them a chance to show what they know in a kind of new and interesting way that didn't exist before.
Right, exactly. And I know iMovie is one, for some reason in my kindergarten classroom, I just always stayed away from it. It seemed like it would be too complicated. And I was so impressed with how easy it was to use. Even a first grader could do it.
Reading.
What's the benefit? I benefit from reading for Dr. Seuss because he is funny. I benefit from reading because I learn new things. Wow! I benefit from reading because it makes me look smart. I benefit from reading because I get to learn about animals.
So what's the deal with reading?
There's so many benefits!
Sometimes on car trips, I have iMovie on my phone or on iPad. I'll just hand it in the back seat and say, make a movie of our trip. And when Harrison was little, kids aren't afraid to click around, you know?
Exactly.
And if you have that relationship with them, that rapport where you know that they're trustworthy.
That was one of the words we learned.
One of the benefits, another word, is that you can let them explore a tool and figure it out. So that was really fun.
Moving on to A, stands for ask and answer. There's two A words there.
I loved that chapter in the book because a lot of times people will say, well, sure, you can do that. You have time. Or sure, you can do that. You're a creator. Or sure, you can do that. Whatever reason that you're not, that they, or that they're not, that they feel like they can't do something or don't want to try something because they just don't have it in them. And his point in that book was, this took me a lot of years to develop.
Right.
I started out exactly where you were, wanting to try something different and
Put some hard work into figuring it out.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think I get that a lot because people say, oh, well, you know how to do that, you're techie. And I honestly don't consider myself to be
Yes,
a techie person at all.
completely agree.
I just became really interested in the benefits of using technology in my classroom. And so I put a lot of hard work and effort into figuring out how to use those and the best ways to use those. So it can't be an excuse anymore to anyone that they're not techie or they're not creative or they don't know how to do something, because if you feel like that's not a strength of yours, then you just put some time and effort into really cultivating and growing that.
And asking the right questions of the right people, finding an audience to whom you can direct those questions, like how do I this, or if I'm trying to learn seesaw, and I would go to Tracy and ask her, how do you use this? Can you show me how it's done? And seek answers to take that next step. So.
And one of the places that I discovered where I started asking and getting lots of answers is using Twitter. And when we say this to people of Twitter being an awesome professional development tool, I always get these looks like,
it's Kim
really?
Kardashian and stuff.
Which it can be as well, for those of you who might be into that that sort of thing. But I've developed such an awesome professional learning network on Twitter of teachers all over the state, all over the country. That's where I found Seesaw, like my new favorite tool to go out and show that teachers are loving. That's how I discovered it. I was on Twitter. I was tweeting with a colleague just asking for some solutions, and we both discovered this one and decided to start using it and sharing it. So it's a wonderful tool.
Well, I was able to go into Julie Tallman's class at Central Heights last week and do a video hangout, which if you've never done one of those, they're so fun.
So fun.
It's a mystery. We don't know where they are, they don't know where we are, and you ask each other questions to kind of narrow it down. So they have the maps out, and we figured out that they were in Indiana, and they figured out that we were in Billings, Montana, and we connected because of Twitter. It was the same way. So you're finding a group of like-minded educators. I only follow educators. I don't follow Kim Kardashian. But I don't, and I only post educational stuff, so I would be a really boring person to follow if you were interested in sports or entertainment or something like that. But the other thing that the author of the book talked about was having a system to capture your ideas. And even during the MEA conference, we had the hashtag MEA MFT15. And as people were in sessions that maybe we couldn't be at because we were teaching or learning somewhere else, you could see the quotes that people were giving or the resources that people were sharing. So it's a great receptacle for stuff.
I loved that because for some reason I never made it to any of Tony Vincent's sessions, but I would look at the hashtag and see lots of awesome things that you and Shelley and Desiree were tweeting, just little quotes or a tool that he had shared that then I could go in and explore even though I hadn't been in that session. So I thought that was great.
Well, my favorite part about Twitter is the Montana Ed Chat.
Montana Ed Chat has been transformative for me, at least, as far as extending the network of teachers so that we can start bringing down the walls in education.
Montana Ed Chat is a fantastic way to authenticate your learning and to really hack your education.
So, Montana Ed Chat, I can't remember when I found it. It was sometime last year, probably in the spring. And for me, it was like, oh, there are other people who are like-minded, who are really passionate about teaching and about school and about, their brain doesn't shut off when they leave school. They're always talking about it. And they're right here in this state.
Montana Ed Chat is a great opportunity for educators from the farthest corners of this state and beyond the state lines even to get together and exchange ideas.
The people you find on there are the people that have they're like-minded and they're not judgmental and they're not being there other because they want to learn and they want to grow and they want to help other people when they grow. And that's why I love Instagram Chat so much.
It's also a great way to here's what I did today that was really cool, and it keeps everything really, really positive, which has been super fun.
And learn what other people across the state are doing, not just with instructional technology, but with adapting to change across all areas, whether it be curriculum, professional development, technology, the blended learning, all of these different shifts. So we can get ideas and then support each other with implementation of these ideas. It's been just such an exciting opportunity for all of us.
And I love it because I've met people from all over the state and actually outside the state because every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock I sit down in my jammies, sometimes with a beverage, and I just go onto Twitter and search the hashtag MTEdChat. And there's this conversation going on where people are asking a question and then people, educators from all over the state, we have a few parents, some principals, will chime in with answers to that question. And it's a great forum if you have a question to throw it out there to the group while that discussion is going on and get some great answers.
Exactly. If you participate enough, there's even avenues you can go through to get OPI credit for participating in these ed chats and things like that. So it's a recognized resource and it's really awesome.
And it's a great professional learning network that expands outside the walls of our buildings in our town and our state, even around the world. There's an ed chat for everything. So try it out. If you're afraid, just get on and watch. Transformation is the next one. And Twitter was a huge transformation for me because I was never going to do Twitter. But I found that in this job, there's been a lot of things that I probably was never going to do because I wouldn't have known to try.
Exactly.
And so one of them is, I didn't work a lot with iPads in my grade level because we had Chromebooks, but you were an iPad person.
Yeah.
So how did iPads change your life, transform your teaching?
iPads transformed my teaching. I think a lot of it is just giving students the opportunity to personalize their learning a little bit, so everybody doesn't have to be doing the same thing. It makes that differentiation piece a little bit easier to manage, but it lets them have choice and freedom in how they're creating and learning and sharing, and I just thought that was incredibly powerful.
It's really cool. And you were lucky enough that you had one-to-one devices.
Exactly.
I think I had a teacher one, and we get asked a lot, well, what am I going to do with one iPad?
Right.
And we actually have a lot of ideas for that, which we're happy to share. But one of the huge new things that people are doing is Osmo. There's a brand new app for Osmo called Numbers.
It's so fun. Anna and I were almost late to Kilt last week because we couldn't stop playing Numbers together. It was so fun.
Yeah. And so as we're learning these new tools, it's like, oh, how can we use this? And who would benefit from this? And benefit? How are we going to be able to take this out and make it meaningful for as many students as possible? And it's really cool.
Osmo has done it again. If you're not familiar with this unique hands-on gaming accessory for the iPad, you should be. Their newest app, Numbers, allows students to arrange physical tiles, including dots and digits, to make numbers and complete levels, add by including more tiles, subtract by removing tiles, and multiply by connecting tiles together. Experimenting becomes fast and intuitive. As students play with numbers, they develop confidence. They play math without the pressure of time or fear that they'll get the wrong answer. Osmo's real-time feedback lets kids learn through experimentation in a stress-free environment where math becomes creative. When kids get the idea that there are multiple good ways to solve a problem, math becomes fun and creative.
Okay, to 4 or 3. 4 to 3, 4 to 3, 4 to 3. Oh, and a 3. 4 and then 4 first. Yes.
With the Numbers app, students dive into an ocean of fun. The game features an engaging underwater world where students will discover and collect 90 beautiful kinds of fish, from rainbow fish to the ever-popular frankenfish. Using strategy to release the fish that are trapped inside the bubbles above the surface, students quickly learn that intuition, experimentation, trial and error are the goals. No more counting on your fingers. It's all about number sense. Want to see numbers in action? Order one now or let us know. We'll be happy to come out and give it a try in your classroom.
Woo! Yay, we got him. We got him.
So finally, the last letter in pirate is a silent E. But this E is not silent because it has to do with what we have a lot of. Annoyingly so. Oh! And that is enthusiasm! Okay, it's enthusiasm. And what is so cool is all these teachers are getting all this new stuff and brand new interactive projectors and sets of iPads and Chromebooks, and they're thinking, now what?
What do I do with all this awesome stuff?
Yes, and so it has led to something we like to call technology stress disorder.
Ooh, TSD.
Walk down the hall of any school and what do you see? Technology everywhere. Technology can revolutionize the learning process. More and more studies show that technology integration in the curriculum improves students' learning processes and outcomes. Teachers who recognize computers as problem-solving tools can change the way they teach. But what happens when they don't? If technology and interactive multimedia are causing you anxiety, if you fear phrases like project-based learning, inquiry project, or flipped classroom, then you may be suffering from technology stress disorder. TSD is a condition that affects hundreds of teachers in every community every year. TSD has the biggest impact on teachers who are reluctant to use technology due to a lack of time, resources, or confidence, afraid to turn it on, afraid it won't work, afraid it will be a flop in front of your students. Technology integration is here to help. Technology integration, or TI, is a TSD treatment that gives you 180 days of relief, starting within moments of your first contact with your classroom technology. The key to TI effectiveness is its dual delayed release technology, or DDR. DDR combines many different types of support in one easy-to-navigate website. So, TI begins to deliver the first release of information as soon as you visit their website and take a risk by trying something on your own. Then, a second release arrives when you invite a specialist into your classroom. You should consult with your administrator before starting any new technology program. There are some forms of technology that have not been evaluated by the technology department nor the technology integration specialist and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent TSD. Side effects of treatment may include passion, immersion, rapport, answers, transformation, and enthusiasm. Other effects may include excitement, engagement, and increased interest in the topic being discussed. This treatment is not just for children under 12, but for listeners and learners of all ages, including people with brains, lungs, gallbladders, and tonsils. Lack of any of these does not mean that the treatment will not be effective. Be careful when treating for TSD, as prolonged exposure or overuse may result in a lack of effectiveness or the appearance of disengagement. Ask your colleagues if effective technology integration is right for you. Technology integration. Change your teaching, change your life.
From technology stress disorder, we know of some ways to help.
Right.
We've got all kinds of professional development opportunities coming up, like
Google Summit. The first ever in Montana Google Summit is coming up on Halloween, and I think that's going to be
very exciting. We're sold out. We have 175 participants who paid to come, plus all of the people who are giving presentations. We have Alice Keeler, if you've never heard of her, look her up.
She'd be great to follow on Twitter if you're starting Twitter.
Yes, nice. We also have Cadre coming up, which I'm so excited about. I love Cadre.
I've never done Cadre, so I'm really excited about
so
Cadre.
Fun. It happens on Saturdays. It's 5 Saturdays throughout the year. You don't necessarily have to come to all 5, but because it's on a Saturday, it's a little more laid back,
Sure.
and we can really have some time to actually dig in and work on the things that we learn. So it's very fun.
Great.
We also have Wired Wednesdays coming up. They're about every other Wednesday, and Shelley and then Mark Kane, who is a teacher at McKinley, put those on, and there's just a whole variety of topics. They're all free. Again, you can get OPI and Step Up for those.
I just am in the middle of doing some iPad workshops for primary teachers where we're learning how to use those little chunks of, I have 4 or 5 iPads in my classroom in centers. And I've been super excited with the turnout for those. And so now those teachers and I together are kind of brainstorming some other things that they want to learn. So be watching for other kind of iPad, probably primary specific workshops, just learning how to really use some of those creation tools and apps in there.
Great. And then, of course, Montana Ed Chat. We'll see you there Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock if you have, some time on your hands. And then finally, Toilet Talk. Keep your eyes open for that. And if you ever have any suggestions for apps or tips, tricks, hints that have really transformed your teaching, shoot them along to us.
And until next time, keep those ships afloat, pirates.